Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's project. This week I have a figured maple bowl blank that's 2 by 8, and we're going to be making a bowl. It will have color on it, so for everyone that has a faint heart when wood gets colored, brace yourself. Use the woodworm screw to put in the 4-jaw chuck, and as you can see it's out of round, and I will be using a bowl gouge to true that up. I will have a link to all the tools that I use in the video description if you're interested. This one is a Carter & Son bowl gouge. My favorite one. It's so versatile. So several passes here to get the diameter trued up before I work on the bottom. So working on the bottom now and starting the curve around the bottom edge there. The tailstock is still in place for safety, using a combination of push and pull cuts here. As you can see, once it's trued up, you're able to remove a lot of material pretty fast. So in this project, I'm using a tenon instead of a mortise. I know there's an ongoing debate about which is better. Personally, I tend to use a mortise and a foot more often. This bowl was on the smaller side for what I usually do, so I wanted to have a flat bottom, so I used a tenon that I will be turning off at the end. And it's all really personal preference. So here I have the skew chisel, and I'm trying to just make the beside the tenon flat where the jaws will sit, and then define the curve. Some sanding. I was able to get a pretty good finish with the bowl gouge and chisel, so I didn't have to go down very low in the grits. So after sanding up to 320, this is a denatured alcohol to remove any dust. And starting with the coloring process here, this is from the Intrinsic Color Collection from Hampshire Sheen, which I'll also link in the video description. This is the color Earth. I've used it before, but not for a while. And the idea with coloring like this is to, especially with figured maple or any figured wood really, is to get a darker color on the bottom and then the sand, not all of it, but a lot of it back, so the other colors have room to show and room for the several other colors that will be used. It's easier to show you than explain, so you'll see coming up. I tried to just do hand sanding here, but I ended up, well, still hand sanding, but with the lathe on. Just removed a lot more of the earth color. And when I stop the lathe here again, you can see some where that figure is. It will have dark places. So the other 3 colors that will go on, starting with this midnight blue, we'll just go over that and you'll see some dark figure underneath it, or at least that's the idea. So no really rhyme or reason here, just seeing what might look good. Third color, sky blue. I tend to go dark to light. If anyone else has any other strategies or sort of directions for doing this, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to learn, always learning. And the great thing is if you mess it up or if you just simply don't like it, you just get the bowl gouge out or some low grit sandpaper or both and start over. Stone blue. And at this point, really, it still looks messy, but it comes together in the end. It's starting to come together a little bit here. So, and depending on what you want, you can use the sandpaper again to sand back any areas that you want. I did that on the bottom where I thought it was a little bit too dark. This is sanding sealer, and this is where you can really see what the finish will look like. So after one coat of sanding sealer and after that dried, using the Axe polishing paste to give it a nice sheen. If you're interested in trying the Axe products, which I highly recommend, I do have a discount code PF10 if you go to the Axe site, which is linked in the video description, and you can get 10% off your order. So once that's on, buffing it off, and you can see it's already a pretty nice sheen there. And flipped around in the 4-jaw chuck using that tenon and starting the hollowing process here. Hey, if you're still watching and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. There's a little icon in the bottom right corner of your screen, which you can click subscribe. Be much appreciated. Your support helps the channel grow, so thank you. Every view, every share, every comment, it lets YouTube know that people are watching and liking or not liking, depending on if you click the thumbs up or thumbs down at the video. So that's how YouTube channels operate in terms of if they get placed in front of more people. There's a YouTube algorithm. So if you like it, consider supporting the channel and clicking like or subscribe. No pressure. If you don't like it, click the thumbs down. That's okay too. Stopping to check the thickness there with the scientific method of 2 thumbs. Very, very scientific. I stop frequently to check the thickness to make sure you don't go through the bottom, because that's absolutely never happened to me. Ever, ever, ever. Wink, wink. So here I have a texturing tool, and I'm just giving a very slight texture to the rim. You can kind of see it better in this shot here. And this is some embellishing paste wax from Hampshire Sheen. And really just using my finger here to get it in the texture, and then I will wipe the excess off. And the idea here is to just give a highlight to the rim and not have it be as bright as it is right now, but to have kind of a worn look to it. There'll be some photos at the end that show it better than this, but even sanding some of it off here. So just like the outside, sanding here using some power sanding, and that was the compressed air blowing the dust out. A little bit of sanding with the lathe off to get a hard to reach area, and also just like on the outside using denatured alcohol to get rid of any dust before applying sanding sealer. I get a lot of questions about what kind of sealer I use. It is just a basic sort of Home Depot brand. It's called Zinsers. And using a steel wool pad here to denibit any little nubs that are left, that will take it off before applying the Axe abrasive sanding paste, and after this will be the polishing paste for the inside. So if you haven't used Axe and you're considering using it, it is very simple to use. You'll get it in the first try. You put the abrasive paste on, rub it in, and then buff it off. And when it stops coming off on the paper towel, you're done with that part, and you can move on to the polishing paste. And it really does make a difference in the figure of the wood and the finish. And the polishing paste is next. So with a paper towel that still has some of the paste on it, you turn the lathe on, and then you get a clean part of the paper towel and turn the speed up, and it really buffs it to a nice shine there without being too glossy. Taking it off of the four-jaw chuck here, gonna put the larger chuck on so I can take off that foot, but just giving you a little up close here. Going slow and taking off the foot so I can get a nice flat bottom where I can put the PF Woodturning branding iron logo. So there are some photos coming up here at the end, so I'm going to sign off, but thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. Until next week, peace out.